Everyone, hope you're well. I thought I'd do a follow-on video from yesterday's one where I talked about how I got into podcasts, vlogging, writing and all the different things I do on the internet, because someone who watched the video came up with a natural progression to me. They said, so at what point did you start getting into places, getting review copies, getting invited to events, getting kind of any of the kind of privileges or successes that come out of doing these things, and how did you initiate that and what got it going? And I thought, you know, yeah, that is an interesting topic, because I'm not going to sit here and say, like, this is how you scam the system into thinking you're a big shot so you get given stuff, or this is how you kind of trick a company into giving you stuff, or how you lie, you know, whatever. That doesn't work. Don't trick people, don't lie, don't do anything like that. But it's not just about, oh, it's games, it's this, it's that. I feel like anyone who's into anything and spends a lot of money on it or a lot of time on it is worth knowing these things, just in the off chance it might help you. It would definitely get you further than you probably think. And I'll go through examples in a moment, but I'm just thinking, like, if where I work, for example, I'm really able to find people that I need to get in touch with to try and talk to them about products or services that we sell. I always irritate the HR department because they interview a few people and I might catch wind of someone's name and then suddenly I've found their profile online. Like, I just hear, I don't know, they go, oh, are you so-and-so? And then I hear their name and I quickly look up so-and-so is in the area, find them out, and then I'm like, oh, they look all right. Oh, I don't like the look of them. And they're like, you can't do that. And so it's like, just a skill. It's just something I've developed over time where I just know where to look and how to look. And I guess it kind of started, I mean, you hear about people who say that they were going to an event and they emailed ahead and they asked questions and they got further than they probably would have done otherwise. They got a special event out of it. But what I found was, when we were doing our original podcast, Best Thing From, I'd email companies and say, this is what we do, this is our routine. Like football clubs, for example, I would say, we like to visit stadiums, have a look round, see what's what, you know, get a bit of a tour going, take some pictures, just see what you're about. And then we have a league table where we say which clubs are the best clubs in the country based on our experience of going to your stadium. So then the clubs would usually respond and say, yeah, by all means, come down. What time are you arriving? And we'd arrive and we'd ask for the person. They'd show us in. Sometimes we'd say, oh, yeah, we're just quite happy here. We'll take some pictures. We'll have a mull around. They'd say, oh, we can have, you know, Portsmouth Football Club gave us a full tour, showed us, like, their boardroom, everything. They were just showing us all the details, telling us little snippets of information. We went to Old Trafford and had a look around there. The only time that backfired was, so what I was going to say is, what we found, sorry, the reason why I was fearless with it was people only ever said yes or didn't respond. No one ever just said, no, leave us alone. No one ever said, how dare you? No one ever said, you're an imposter, you're a monster, get out of here. No one ever said anything rude. All that ever happened was I didn't get a response and I kept emailing or trying different people, and then people said yes. And it was that simple. I might be emailing person A at a club, say it was Portsmouth, I might have been emailing who I thought was their PR person, they weren't responding, I tried someone else, they told me who to speak to, that person said yes. That was literally the profile pretty much every time. Now, the only time that ever did backfire and we were a bit regretful was the day that Kev and I drove up to Leeds from Peterborough, which is quite a drive, really, 2 and a bit hours, and we arrived at Elland Road, the Leeds Stadium. We asked to meet the person who we were supposed to be meeting, and she was happy to greet us at the door, and she said, you've just got to speak to Trev. And we were like, I don't know who Trev is. And Trev came out and he looked us up and down and he asked what we were doing, and we said, look, we look around stadiums, we take pictures, we talk about them, we review them, we put you on our list, this is what we do, it's just a bit of fun, we're also visiting breweries and stuff. And he just said, I don't know who you are, you could be terrorists, I'm not letting you in. And we were like, well, we could just buy a match day ticket and come in ourselves. Like, you know, it'd be the same thing. And he was like, yeah, do that then. And we were like, well, we're not going to do that. We're not Leeds fans. We just wanted to have a look around the stadium quickly and leave. We'd have only been half an hour. We've driven up especially. And he was like, well, sorry, lads, don't know what to tell you. And we had to leave. It wasn't the end of the world, because what we actually did then was I got on email, on the internet, sorry, looked for the email address to the people at Headingley, emailed them. They said, come on by. We rocked up at them in a car and had a full tour of Headingley with their rugby stadium, their cricket stadium. Just that was the best thing. It was so amazing. They were really kind to us. They did it like that, no questions asked. We kind of told them we'd been let down by Elland Road, and they were like, yeah, whatever, come on in. It didn't just work with that. It worked with breweries. We emailed one and said, you know, specifically we told them they were Kev's favourite brewery. they were more than happy to let us in. We expected to be imposters because I think that was the first or second time we'd done it. When we got there, they said to us, "You've probably seen all this stuff a million times. You might as well just come straight through and start tasting the beers." And we were just like, "Oh yeah, all right, yeah." And we wandered in and had a look round, and you know, we gave them good reviews. We talked about them. They do hold a good place in my heart. I went there with my family, and the next time I was down in the New Forest, we swung by the village they were in, and we bought some beer, and they were just brilliant. And it's not just that sort of scenario. I remember we were doing a walk, and I emailed and said, "Look, we're doing a walk. We'd like to get some walking gear. If I get people to buy them through you, is there anything you could do as like a group discount?" And the guy sort of said, "I'm not really authorised to do that, but what size shoes are you? I'll send you a free pair of walking boots if you talk about our thing on your show." And you know, we were a bit of a sponsor, and I got a free pair of walking boots out of it just because the guy couldn't help me with my original request, and it was like the most mind-blowing thing. So when we started getting into gaming, we discovered there are loads of websites that you can use. Like one's called Game Press, which is the big one. You're supposed to get a sign up on that, and then it tells you when the games are out, who's the company dealing with all the PR and the publishing and the distribution. And then it used to tell you who to speak to, and it used to be quite accurate, but those details haven't been updated in years. That was fantastic for a while. You just go on there, you'd say, okay, it's this person, go and talk to them. You tell them all about you. You tell them what you did, you send them examples of your work, and they would just be more than happy to send a code. If it was online or downloadable, asking for a code was really simple. If it's a disc, you're kind of a bit more wary, but they'd send one through the post, and it was always great. I remember us getting like Grand Theft Auto 5, The Last of Us, massive titles. And it would all come from just finding the right people. And sometimes a trick I learned in sales, where I'd always say, I called and they told me that I needed to speak to you. And sometimes you get the response saying, "I don't know why they told you to speak to me, you need X." And other times they go, "Oh yeah, that is me," and they'd answer your question. Now, part of my skill from work had been going through LinkedIn, finding people who work for the company, you know, checking their field of expertise, people will link to them in the department or whatever. That involves a bit of research and a bit of chancing it, because you're kind of making sure you've got the right person. There's no point emailing like PR@company.com or sales@company.com. You want to be getting, you know, Mr. Sheepdog at sheepdogincorporated.com and talking to him. And obviously if you go too high, it's not going to work. So if Mr. Sheepdog's the owner of the company, don't be talking to him. Talk to Sheepdog Junior at sheepdog.com or whatever, because they might be more low level enough that they want to help or whatever. So that was what I kind of found useful, was I'd get in touch and I'd say, you know, I co-own Mature Gamer, or I found if I said I owned it, it sounded too small. So if I said I am the editor of Mature Gamer, or I am the content whatever of Mature Gamer, our team would like to review your game. We would like it on the following formats, whichever works for you is best. You know, we couldn't do this format, whatever. We expect to release on this date at this time. These are the previous reviews we've done. You know, we have X amount of followers. We'll be doing this for X years, blah, 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 blah. And most of the time we'd get the titles. What we've found in more recent years is we lost our website. It got hacked and we don't have a website anymore. And so I always worried that it was holding us back, because I'd lost all of the rapport I'd built with these people, because the number one rule was always make sure you give them the review afterwards, say thank you, show them what you've done, show them any effort you've put in. But also it was just having that kind of, you go back to them, "Oh, you're right, how you doing? You know, 6 months ago you let me review this game, you just brought out another game, come and review it, this is all we've done." And they'd be able to just see the thread. When we lost the site, I'd email them and go, "I've never heard of you." And I'd be like, "It used to be this email address," and they're busy. They don't have time to be looking for like Steve at maturegamerpodcast.com when suddenly now I'm, you know, RB6K at whatever, or, you know, MGUK podcast at Gmail. And they're not taking it as serious. They're thinking I'm someone just posing as me, even though I'm using the same address, the same names and all of the stuff, because they're talking to hundreds and probably thousands of people. So that got confirmed recently. I asked for a review copy of Final Fantasy VIII, and they said, yeah. And then when I got through to the department, they said, to be honest, we only give reviews to people with actual web addresses. We don't give reviews out to Gmail accounts. And I say, I thought so, but we just haven't got a site anymore. It got nicked, and we've never really had the time, effort, money, and incentive to really get it back. And part of that, to link to what I'm saying, is doing all that stuff for free games isn't really worthwhile. Like, don't just go and do a gaming review show to get free games. it takes too much time and effort and commitment. You're better off just buying them at that point. But this goes not just for games, not just for getting entry into places, and not just because we're doing online stuff. I found that it works for my mate's really into Game of Thrones, and I got in touch with people to see if I could get some information or stuff for him with that. I mean, that specifically actually is a bad example because it didn't actually end up happening. I got quite far down the process before they were like, look, actually we've got to cancel this, sorry, something had come up. I think they got derailed, it got pushed back. It was like a book was coming out and I'd managed to get him a review of it, but then they said the release date had been pushed back, and then they never really come back to me, which was gutting because I wanted it to be like a gift. But what I found was, like, I got in touch with Peter Molyneux, he made games like, I think it was Theme Park he might have been Theme Hospital, one of the themes. He worked for Bullfrog, a lot of big gaming companies. He was Bouncy, who used to be one of our hosts, Hero, loved him. And I got in touch with his company and said, I want it as a Christmas present for my friend, that I want him to come on our show and talk. It'll completely blow his mind that he gets to interview you. Please, can you come on? And they were like, yeah, that sounds great, let's do it. And they set it up, and we were really awkward actually because none of our processes worked, none of our systems worked. We spent ages trying to get him online. We finally did. We did a really fun interview with him, made Bouncy's day. It was a good surprise for him. We basically told him just before it was happening that he was going to interview Peter Molyneux. He was delighted, and I couldn't believe it. I tried to do similar things. We got a couple of the guys from Complete Guide to Everything on. That was really good. You know, I just chanced it. I just made a compelling kind of proposal and said, this is what we would like to do. You know, it'd be really important for these reasons, and we'd love it if you could make it happen. And people want to help people, so they did. I think, honestly, I believe if like we wanted to start a book thing or a film thing or whatever thing, I mean, I just got in touch because years ago they were bringing out a Firefly film called Serenity, and I really wanted to see it, and I got into it before it was pre. We had a contact, but it was my friend showed me, and we went and we filled it in, and we didn't think we'd get accepted, and we did, and it was brilliant. We got to see a film before it was even finished. It's just chancing it. It's just having, because people don't sit and do that. You're not sat at home thinking, I wonder what I can go and get an early review of, or an early entry on, or a discount on. And I've started taking that into loads of things. I'll just say, can I have a discount on this? And they'll look at it. I got some of that from like Money Saving Expert and websites like that. And I'm not trying to be like tight on something. I don't want to be kind of like asking about a loaf of bread, but sometimes you do get away with it. I got loads of money off. I got a laptop discounted because the guy was like, okay, if we do this, this and this, and we do that, I'll be able to get this much off it, and you'll have to take this thing out, but then you can cancel it afterwards, and I'll get commission, but it won't. And it was like, you know, I just was willing to work with him. I was like, whatever you want me to do, fine. I'm happy as long as I leave with that laptop for this price. It's just having the nuts to do it, basically. And yeah, it is that simple. I mean, I feel like over time we've been less likely to do it. I got a bit dramatic. We were doing our giveaway for MGPX, and I was getting a bit dramatic about that because I couldn't think who to reach out to. It's hindered by the fact we don't have a website. My number one tip would be get a website going if you want to do it professionally and you really want them to believe in you. But if you want to do it in a personal way, like can you come and do this, can you let me into that, can I see this thing, then doing it that way is fine. It's personal. And as I say, people just won't reply if the answer's no. That's the one thing I've learned. There's nothing to lose. It's not embarrassing at all. You're literally punting an email out, and it's trial and error. If you try 10 different emails and 9 of them fail but 1 works, use that email for the next 10 attempts, and you'll probably find that 5 of them work and 5 fail. And then just try different things, enhance it. Obviously, doing hard work and putting the effort in and being good at it helps if you wanted to do a show about something. I was trying to get my friend, again, the same guy about Game of Thrones, I was trying to get him into doing something more about it. When the show was out, and you know, they were doing premieres in London or whatever, I was saying to him, you should start a podcast, talk about it religiously, have your theories, have your very in-depth, you know, knowledge of it, and get to the point where you're invited to sit there in the audience, or you're invited to sit on a panel, or whatever it is. Just do it, get into it and do it. But he was kind of, I'm not into all of that. I was this close to just doing it myself. I'm not interested in it enough. I just thought I want to prove him wrong by just doing it. I genuinely believe I'm just picking this up, if I became the foremost expert in heat protect serum by VO5, the next time when they become VO6 or whatever, I don't know what this is, I could end up being front and center at that, because I'll make myself the go-to person for a group of people or whatever. I don't know. It's just, that's what it is. It's just showing a bit of, I am interested enough in this that I'm going to shout from the rooftops about it. Because ultimately that's what they want. They're not giving that game away to be friendly. They want somebody passionate enough about the thing they're talking about to make it wide and broad. And the people that came on it obviously thought it'd be nice publicity for someone who really likes them to talk to them. You know, if I was ever at that kind of, if I was at Peter Molyneux's level, I'd love to do stuff like that, because it'd just be fun. You know, my wife would be saying, "What are you up to today?" And I'd be like, "Oh, I'm chatting to a bunch of fans on in my bedroom laptop, because it's just fun to be adored," or whatever. You know, if I made a game and people were like, "We want to talk about your game," I'd be like, "Yeah, have 10 of them." Just, I mean, that did happen sometimes, but some of them tend to be a bad sign of quality if they offer you 10 copies of it. Lords of Football did that, and it was probably the worst game I've ever played. But yeah, it's just, that is it. People want to share their good stuff, and it's really hard. When I finish my book, it's gonna be bloody hard for me to get it out and about to people. I mean, that's probably the one area where it doesn't work. You know, you can get copies of books left, right and centre. So if you like reading and you're quite undiscerning, or you have a genre you like, just find writers in that genre and go and ask them for a copy of their book in return for an honest review, because they're begging for it, and you'll get as many as you want, and you'll be turning books away. Booktubers, as they're called, are all over YouTube doing that, and it's hard to filter out the quality once you've got going on that, because everyone wants to send their book to you. Anyway, I'm going to wrap up. I hope this has been useful. I hope that all of you are now thinking, "Oh, I could go and get a copy of that game or that thing." If you want specific advice, I'll genuinely help you if you want me to by messaging me. If you tell me what it is you're looking for, or if you need a contact. I've had people message me going, "I need a contact at so-and-so, can you find it?" It takes me like 10 minutes, because that's part of my job, or it was. I don't really do that job as much now, but I know exactly what to do. I know how to find the people. I do go and find people. As I say, it's just a skill that I've built up. And if you get into doing that, it's really useful, and it really helps you, especially with things like podcasts and blogging and whatnot. And once you get to a certain point, they start emailing you. I've only ever had spammy looking ones so far. I've had like companies offering me really weird looking toys for little kids because they've seen I've got kids and I do you know, vlogging about them. But as time goes by, you start getting companies going, "Look, we think you'd be a good fit for this, that and the other." And I'm sure if you've been watching Kev's Rise, you know that he starts getting these really random things because they start looking the opposite way. But it doesn't hurt to ask, and you will find it is the barrier for it is very low, really. So yeah, any questions, let me know. Hope this has been useful. I will be doing my normal videos. Just nothing really happened today. I think the long and short of it was today went really well, which is great. So yeah, I'll wrap up from there. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, comment. Anything you want me to talk about in future videos, let me know. Any questions, let me know. I love it that people just inspire me with random things. I think I got asked like about 4 hours ago, and all I've been thinking about is, "Oh, I want to talk about that, I want to talk about that." I'll probably think of 20 things I forgot to say in like 10 minutes, but that's the way it is. I can do another video at another time. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon. Cheers.